Hello, back again with a build for my Ranger. This one is for Iggy Popped. He wanted to know how my Ranger was built. I'll let you know for a start though, it's been a long time since I've put the build together. It's probably not optimum, but he wanted to see what it was, so here it is. First of all, I built my Ranger Subtle Death for pure damage, so this is not a condition build, and it's not a pure kite build neither. It's just all out damage, so power, precision and critical hit. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so here are my traits. Subtle Death is a pure damage base Ranger. Although a Ranger is also very good at condition damage, and even some of the power-based, damage-based weapons such as the longbow and greatsword do have some conditions in them. I decided to go full upfront damage. I'm not especially brilliant at kiting, I'll have to admit, so I wanted to try and bring them down as fast as possible, even though there are some abilities there to do some form of kiting. So I went up 20 points in marksmanship. This increases my power by 200 and increases my condition duration by 20%. Very useful for the cripple on the barrage. I put in Beastmaster's Bond. I gain Fury and Might when my pet's health reaches 50%. That's very handy because I always send my pet in first, in hoping that that will take the aggro, especially in PvE. I used Eagle Eye, which increases longbow and harpoon gun range, sorry, and increases their damage by 5%. So I can stand further back and do more damage. Very handy. I put 20 into skirmishing, as that increases my precision by 200, and increases the critical damage by 20%. Very, very handy for my build. I put in primal reflexes. I gain 5% of vigor when you are struck by a critical hit. So basically, whenever I'm struck by a critical hit, my endurance will regen a lot faster, allowing me to dodge roll out of situations. I'll get a critical hit, I'll regen, dodge roll out of the way. I put in quick draw. Short bow and long bow skills recharge 20% faster. Very handy for obvious reasons. I went up 10 points into wilderness survival for toughness, so that's an extra 100 toughness, and my conditional damage is increased by 100. Not that important for my build, although the vulnerabilities and the cripples handy, but I mainly wanted that for the toughness to augment her armor for when things started getting a bit too close. So she gains vigor when she uses a heal skill, so again when things are getting close and she needs to heal up, she has the ability to dodge roll out of the way even further. So her dodges are up. She can dodge roll a fair amount. I went up 20 points in nature magic. That gives her an extra 200 vitality and increases the boon's duration by 20%. I put on nature's bounty, so regeneration you apply lasts 33% longer. Two-handed training, greatsword and spear damage is increased by 5%. So the two weapons which I use all the time, their damage is increased by 5%. A greatsword and a longbow are vital for a pure damage, upfront damage Ranger, I believe. Can't fault them in any way. So let's have a look at the gear. All my gear is from COF, because it's all power, precision and critical damage. So I've got all my gear from COF there. I've got the superior rune of the eagle, which increases my precision and critical damage. So again, it looks like she's a glass cannon, but she does have a lot of survivability, to be honest. I've got Harry's longbow, just cuz. Again, power, precision, critical damage. Because our critical chance is so high, On the longbow I put a 30% chance of critical to inflict a chill. That's a superior sigil of ice. So again, that's so at the moment I've got around about a 1 in 2 chance of critical hit. So every 6 hits I should be inflicting chill, which is pretty good. Which allows for me to remain at a distance, because that slows my enemy down. When my enemies do get close, I have a greatsword, again power, precision, critical damage. And when they are close and I switch to it, because I've got the superior sigil of battle in there, I gain 3 stacks of might for 20 seconds when you swap to this weapon while in combat. This will give me extra power, extra damage. So when things are getting close and a bit hairy, she can switch to her greatsword. And the greatsword is brilliant because the number 1 skill is a close range AoE in a wide arc in the front, so anything that's coming out, everything gets hit. Also the swoop damages nearby foes, and she's got a bash as well, which is a daze. So, and my pet's next attack does 50% extra damage. So there's the gear and the weapons. Now for the jewelry and accessories, again all power, precision, critical damage. Power, precision and critical damage, the whole lot. Which means that her, without any buffs, her critical chance is over 50%, which is just where I wanted it. Her critical damage is 89%. So any critical hit is, not only does it have the base increase, but it also has an 89% increase in damage, which is pretty good, so she does some really hard hitting critical hits every 2 hits. And her health isn't so bad either. I mean, it's sitting at over 18,000 at the moment, which is a bit less than even what my Guardian is. So yeah, I always choose Rampage as 1 as my elite skill because of the fury and the stability. It's 120-second cooldown, but it lasts for like 24 seconds. Which is nice because there's now got an increase in critical chance at 76%. So I'm doing a lot more damage, a lot more critical hits, a lot more of the time. Also, obviously stability, so you can't be knocked down or pushed back, and swiftness, allowing for a movement around the battlefield quite quickly. Use a Signet of the Hunt, increased movement speed to me and my pet, and a spike trap. I also use Signet of Renewal, cures a condition every 10 seconds, which is pretty good, and if I need to, I can hit it and my pet takes all the conditions from nearby allies to himself, which is very handy. So these are mainly the ones that I run with, although I do switch out my Sigil of the Hunt every so often to whichever I need at the time. I've got a few more traps in there and such like so, but these are the ones I run with mainly. Now we'll take a look at my pets. We'll ignore the aquatic ones for now. They're basically just my shark and a scale. I always use bears for my pets because they do have a high damage output, but their vitality and toughness is fantastic, so they last a long time. Because I didn't put too much emphasis on my pets doing the damage, I wanted them to be the tanks. So if I send them in first, they take the aggro and I can just wail on them at a distance while they survive. Most of the time, because this is the case, I'm more concerned with healing my pet than I am myself. So, and when things do get close and get a bit hairy, I can switch to my greatsword and just sort of finish them off. So that's pretty much the build. I say it's I've managed to get some extra health and some vitality in there, so she survives most fights. But the damage that she does is pretty damn high. I didn't go full glass cannon because obviously the nature is that something at some point is going to get to you, so I didn't want to just fall down instantly. It's great in world versus world, obviously, because I've got the range on the longbow. There have been a few instances where when I've been fighting non-ranged characters, and they just managed to hide out of line of sight, and so I've switched to me greatsword and just sort of wailed on them for a little bit, and they've gone down. So very, very versatile. A lot of evades due to the vigor regen, a lot of health, and a hell of a lot of damage. So there you go, that's basically my hunter. If you've got any questions, do let me know. Thank you.